Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another podcast. This is the day after Chelsea beat ES Tunis, although they've got a name I can't pronounce it.
Esperance,
yeah. Esperance Tunis 3-0 in the Club World Cup, which puts us through to the knockout rounds. We're into the round of 16 now against Benfica. And guys, we're going to do a little roundup. We didn't manage to do a show after the Flamengo game. I think the time difference was just a pain. But listen, we are
probably for the better, to be honest.
Well, we can touch on it. We can definitely touch on it. But obviously, we're through now, so I think we can all relax.
Part of the plan anyway to lose that game. It was all part of the plan.
Well, part of the master
so that we don't play against Bayern Munich.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, we're thinking ahead of the game here. So we lose that game, and we end up on the opposite side of the draw to all the big teams.
Never felt so happy to be second before. This must be what it's like to be an Arsenal fan.
What was your predictions going into this tournament, just out of curiosity, guys?
What, in terms of how far we'd get?
Because I've been asked loads of times, like, you got people on the streets doing interviews, like, pre-match, and they'll go, like, do you think Chelsea can win the Club World Cup?
Absolutely.
That's the question. And I just go, well, no, I don't think we'll win it. But I think we can get to the quarterfinals. I guess that's still how I feel. I think we can get quarters.
Everyone expected us to get PSG or Bayern in the quarters.
Well, exactly. That's why I was like, look, we'll get to the quarterfinals, and then because I thought everything would pretty much go as expected, and we'd meet PSG in the quarters and we'd lose. But now I'm thinking potentially we could make semi-finals. Look, these two games, the next two games, if we get two games, will be tough, but it's a lot easier than what it potentially might have been. It could have been Bayern Munich and then most likely PSG. So, yeah, look, quarterfinals was my expectation beforehand. Maybe now I'm thinking semi-finals is doable.
What about you, Lewis and Scott?
I was the same. Like, I thought it would go kind of as planned. I thought we'd face Benfica in the round of 16, just in different circumstances. Win that game, and if it's PSG, I think it was going to be in the quarters and go out to them. Things have been made a bit easier with certain teams winning and whatnot, but I still don't think we got a chance of winning personally, based on how we've played so far, and I look at how other teams have played. But yeah, I do think there's at least a chance we get to the semis. It's just I still think it's going to be hard considering the level that the Brazilian teams have played at so far.
It's the atmosphere as well, isn't it? That's not just the football; it's the atmosphere. Like, I'll be honest with you, that Flamengo atmosphere was proper. That was proper. I don't know what it sounded like on the telly, but that was exceptional. The first 10 minutes felt like just a classic European away day. It was an away day. Like, it didn't feel like there was many Chelsea fans.
You've done the likes of Milan and Dortmund with me as well. So where would you rank up with them?
I would
those
say
are the two atmospheres to have been in. That and Atletico. So if you say around that, like,
I've never done Atletico, to be honest with you. I've never done it. But I'd say it's different to Dortmund, because Dortmund is like, I don't know how to explain. Like, the Brazilians are very upbeat, and they were jumping and shouting. I didn't feel like the Germans are like this. I'd probably say it was better than Dortmund. Milan, I think, was definitely up there. I think it'd probably be difficult to compete with the San Siro. So it's up there with one of the best.
I thought Milan was better than Dortmund too.
Did you?
That's the best one. Yeah. It got to a point I wanted them to get a consolation goal, because they just kept they were just loud all match, all fucking match. It was every side of the ground. It was different. Italian fans are different to anywhere else in Europe, other than maybe Turkey.
I remember I was sat with you in the San Siro when we won 3-0, and they were still going the ultras the whole way through. Was it 3-0?
Yeah, it was
3-0.
Yeah. Oh, it was 3-0.
Jorginho scored his penalty. It wasn't 3-0, was it?
No. That was the away game. Jorginho and Aubameyang.
Okay.
The home game, that was when Wes Fofana and James scored.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one. So no, it was a cracking atmosphere. Like, honestly, the Brazilians are great, and the Brazilians are like, they'll give you a bit of banter as well. After the game, I did all the fan cams with the Tunisian fans, and I'm not saying they're bad people, but like, different, like a little bit intimidating for some people, especially Shaggy. You know Shaggy, right?
They're in your face,
yeah.
Were they?
Yeah, man. Because obviously, like I think they're Arabic or they speak Arabic, and they saw Shaggy was there wearing a Chelsea shirt. Like they got the wrong impression. Shaggy was telling me like, basically they thought that he hated their team because he was Arabic and he was wearing a Chelsea shirt. They didn't realize that he's just a Chelsea fan. So he was getting a lot of abuse when I was doing the fan cam. He ended up having to leave because I think they were saying some nasty stuff. So yeah, I'll be honest, like they weren't, they're not the bad people, but not the friendliest. If I'm honest, either not the friendliest.
Reception when you win compared to when you lose.
No, I preferred Flamengo personally. I mean, I thought the Flamengo fans were bad, but yeah, I mean, let's talk about the game, guys. Let's talk about the game. I mean, I'll start with you, Scott. I mean, how would you summarize the starting 11? Because we saw it, at least in Philly. We were in the sports bar next to the stadium. I was really disappointed. No Andre Santos. I was a bit surprised Sanchez didn't start. Jorgensen was in. I was like, okay. And yeah, just lots of changes that I didn't necessarily expect.
I think I called it on Lewis's stream yesterday, like when we saw the lineup, the single funniest lineup that Maresca probably could have put out. Yeah, when you look at like who played where as well, like Dewsbury Hall at right wing, Madueke on the left again, and Nkunku just in the team in general. We had to play Gusto left back because no backup left back, thanks Clearlake. But that's that. Yeah, it was just kind of funny to see, and it kind of played out, at least in my mind, with a lot of the players how we probably would have expected beforehand in terms of some of those that started. We got what we probably would expect from them. But yeah, it was just a lot of rotation. Certain players playing, which I was glad to see playing. Josh playing, I thought was nice to see. Obviously, Delap had to play. Jorgensen back in goal is cool because Sanchez is just Sanchez at this point. But yeah, I don't think I was expecting as much rotation. But it was kind of nice to see in some places. Just I kind of wish certain players had been given a bit more time, but I kind of also understand why they weren't.
What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I think it was. We knew there was going to be some changes because he's rotated the lineup a lot throughout the tournament so far. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised at the extent of the changes and sort of personnel that were playing. Dewsbury hadn't kicked the ball in both of the previous games, and then he's into the starting lineup. In Nkunku, a bit of a surprise start. But then we see players like Badia Shield playing. Jorgensen in goal was a welcome change. And what was really important for me as well is that we were able to give rest to Caicedo, to Cucurella, because we don't really have natural alternatives to them in the squad. So to be able to give them a whole evening off was a big plus, a big positive.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was very disappointed when I saw the lineup. Not emotional, but like it was like, for crying out loud. I know we've got to rotate. But when I see Dewsbury Hall in the lineup and I don't see Santos, I know they're not playing in exactly the same position, but I thought to myself, I don't really understand it. I don't get it because we are supposed to be taking this game seriously. But then speaking to other fans that knew more about, was it Esperance? Is that how you say it?
Esperance.
Yeah,
Esperance. Like speaking to other fans that knew about them, basically they were saying, listen, guys, this is like a non-league English team. That's literally what they were telling us. Like, you will not struggle whatsoever, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And I'll be honest with you, they're probably not wrong in a lot of ways. I thought they were poor.
They just sat so deep.
But even when they were counter-attacking, like, there wasn't a threat, I know that Toffin got man
have a
of the
little
match.
faster pace and we'd catch up.
Yeah, like...
It was like a conference.
Do you think they look better than LAFC?
Yeah. The last 3 games have been like that.
It was a conference league game, basically, is what it was like. It was just one of them where, like, it might take a while for us to get that first goal, but once the first goal come, we were going to get 2, 3, or 4, and that's kind of exactly what happened. And they dug in reasonably well in that first half. But once that first goal come, there was never any doubt that we were going to get a few more.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
I didn't really have too many. Like, I was disappointed with the lineup as well, but because of the nature of the opposition, and also like with how we've been in this situation so many times, there's so many conference league games. I was like, look, just get yourself in the lead before half time, and then if Andre Santos don't get any minutes by this point, then yeah, I understand why everybody's losing their heads, because even him not starting was crazy. But the more you watch the game, or you saw like his cameo off the bench, I do also kind of get it, because he did seem a bit rusty. He did seem a bit like out of sorts, which is completely understandable, by the way, because like he's only just been integrated into this team as well. But because of that, I kind of get going with midfielders that were about last season and just doing that at least until we've seen the game out or got ourselves into a winning position, and then maybe field a few more experiments with the substitutions. And ultimately, it all went out perfectly for us.
But I think the only thing maybe it's very picky, but it would have been decent to see Santos come on at half time rather than just 25 minutes. But as Lewis said, you know, the reasoning for him not playing or not starting is that the guy's 21. He's spent 2 weeks with the squad and he's just not up to speed. You know, it's the same people that are kind of like moaning about Santos not playing will be the same ones when Esteval don't start the first couple of games in the Premier League. And it's like, oh my God, Maresca hates Esteval. It's all over and it's a disaster. Like, these players are going to need a bit of time to bed in, and they're going to need a little bit of time to get used to the way of playing and get used to playing for Chelsea, because it's all very well excelling at Strasbourg, and that's great. But it's a totally different situation to repeat that or get anywhere near that at Chelsea. And obviously, Santos is going to be starting as fourth choice. And when he does get the opportunities, he will get them. It's up to him to move himself up the pecking order.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, even with the rotation aspect, like it's something that we hate, but we almost understand it. And I do think that Maresca, when he rotates, like, I get it. I understood why he dropped James in the Conference League final from a rotational aspect, but I didn't get it from a tactical perspective. And I've felt that way a number of times when he's made changes. But I think he just generally prioritizes the well-being of the players. And I guess I've got to give credit in a way, because, you know, if this was Pochettino, then I don't think it would be the same. I think that he'd play, you know, players more consistently, even if they are tired. And then you do run the risk of having injuries. But the other side of that is that if we would have dropped points yesterday, then we would have known exactly why. And it would have been because we didn't have our best players on the pitch. Now, obviously, we managed to get the job done irrespective. So that's great. But we are going to have to start, especially against Benfica. I mean, they just beat Bayern Munich. I'd expect a fully strengthened squad taking them on. We've got to take Benfica really seriously. And, yeah, I'm not necessarily...
You've got to take every game from now seriously. This is the thing. This is why I also, like, am even more calm with the rotation that we've done to this point, because this is our best opportunity to do it. Now, look, I get it as well. It does come with its frustrating points, but, like, we are going to be in this position, not just for this tournament, but for the remainder of next season as well, because, like, I've said this from last season. I'm very concerned about how burnout might affect us for the following campaign. And we should be progressing. We should be going in a title race if we're being serious. But we've got a lot going against us too. So we kind of have to, like, manage these players throughout the season. That's why I think, like, sometimes you might get dodgy lineups like this, as long as the game management and the substitutions are done at the right time, which wasn't against Flamengo, and that's why we criticized the manager, and deservedly so. But look, it's going to be frustrating for the next year with these players. They're going straight to another season, straight into a World Cup. And they say, yeah, they get 3 weeks. We got a nice little start to the season in terms of fixtures. It's still not going to be great from a physical perspective, and maybe even a mental perspective of some of these players. So all I can say is that we're going to have to be really patient. We have to be really patient and just hope, like, we can see the players getting managed correctly throughout the next year.
I think the rotation, like, this going into next season, is going to be so important, obviously for the reasons that Lewis said. But, like, we're now juggling Champions League football, which is a huge step up from what we were playing in the Conference League. We haven't got the ability to make 8, 9, 10, 11 changes in Champions League. You might play a Saturday, and then you might make 1 or 2, maybe 3 at a push changes for the Champions League game. So we're going to have to get used to playing the pretty similar team every 2 to 3 days. And we're not used to that at this point in time. So that's why this sort of thing is a good exercise for us at the end of a long season. But for me, I feel for the first time in a long time, this coming season, squad depth and rotation and the way you manage the squad is never going to be more important.
Yeah, I do think that this is one thing where Maresca, he's got no control over who we sign, obviously. I mean, he can say that he approved someone, but he approved Magnon, apparently, and that never happened. So, you know, he is a manager that I think needs the players. Right? To rotate that much, like Guardiola, you need the players. And I think if he's doing that with this current squad, I don't think we make Champions League. I don't think we do. Not the way we play, not with the players that we have, not with what we want to achieve within the Champions League while we're still in the competition. I don't think we do it. We need more quality, and that's on the recruitment and the ownership. Now there is the other side, which is, hang on a second, maybe you can get more out of the players you've got. And listen, that's a debate that we can have in a couple of months, depending on where we are. And I'm going to try my absolute best to try and just rein it in for the first couple of months, because I was saying this the other day. People, I still get asked about Pochettino. Like, who's that guy who goes on your stream, Lewis?
Jimmy, I saw you met him on the fan cam.
He was like, Alex, you fucking Poch lover. I was like, oh, fucking hell, mate. But I was like, people bring it up more than I do. But the thing is that I respect what Maresca did last year. I respect what he achieved. But I still don't really like him. I don't like him. I'm not a fan of him. But I'm here to be proven wrong. I really don't have an issue with it. I'm sort of standing there saying, come on, mate, hit me. Show me what you've got. And I can't say I'm particularly impressed with what I've seen so far in terms of the Club World Cup via performances. But we're through, aren't we? And I guess knockout football is definitely the type of football you don't really care how you play as long as you get through. But he needs more players. And that's the long and the short of it. He needs more quality players.
Yeah, we do need more quality.
Again, look at the urge. Look at the lack of intensity that we're showing in the group stage games, especially like LAFC. There was I saw periods where Neto was basically refusing to take on his man at times, and I just think all of it's just coming down to us just trying to go through these games with as little fatigue as possible, at least the group stage matches. Now, I don't really want to see that in the knockout games because I want us to win this tournament. I want us to progress as far as possible. But it also goes without saying that if we do progress as far as possible, we're going to need even more players because that's going to be even more games and less of a layoff and less of a pre-season going into next season. So we need to bring in the right depth to accommodate that.
Yeah, and that's the big problem for me is that I think he's actually done a really good job with the tools at his disposal. But now you're going up a level, you're going into the Champions League. We're going to be playing probably upwards of 60 games next season, competing on 4 fronts. A squad game has never been more important. And, we've got this extra money via the Champions League and whatnot. And I get it, it's a long summer and we're just coming up to the end of June, so there's a long way to go. I just personally feel at this stage a bit disappointed when I see the targets that we're linked with, because maybe stupidly I thought, do you know what, we've got Champions League football now, maybe we'll target a bit of a higher caliber of player. But the names that we're being linked with and the names we're pursuing, respectfully, we could have got these players with no Champions League football. And so that for me is where I'm a little bit disappointed. I look at it and I think, we've got an opportunity here. We're not actually a million miles away from mounting a challenge. We need a top-class goalkeeper. We refuse to pay extra 4 million. We need a centre-half. We need a versatile forward, and we need a left winger, maybe 2, depending on if people leave. And I don't know. It's just felt a little bit underwhelming. And you can criticise the manager, rightfully for certain things last season. But ultimately, when we go into this new season, whether he's been backed and to what degree he's been backed will determine how much I'm going to be looking at the manager compared to how much I'm going to be looking at the directors and the club for what they've given him.
What do you think,
Completely
Scott?
agree. No, I completely agree. Where you can see just in terms of you could just see in terms of the lineup last night, we're short of numbers. Like the fact KDH is playing right wing and Nkunku is playing as the backup 10 because you need to rest Palmer just tells you everything. And the fact that he was our backup striker, and that's obviously not necessarily from a numbers point of view, it's just because our backup got sent off. But it's still not really good enough. So we need more people coming in. I think the earlier they can get these guys in, the better. I think that's where the disappointment comes for me. I hear Charlie's point about the targets, but this is the way they've moved. This is the way these guys have moved since they've been here. So it doesn't shock me. They're going to continue to move like this in terms of those targets, because it's just easier for them. It's what they want to do. And so I'm not surprised these are the types of guys we're going for. I would just like them to get the deals done quicker, and I would like them to either actually be able to negotiate or just pay the money. If you're going to fail at negotiating miserably on multiple occasions, just pay the money, because at this point it's kind of wasting everyone's time. We could have had Gittins in this squad now. He could have played it yesterday. He could have been in that game yesterday playing. But we didn't want to pay the money. And now we're going to pay the money. In fact, we're paying more, I think. So yeah, that's kind of what's disappointing. Obviously, we've got a lot of time left to go and make some signings. We need some signings. We need a backup left back. You see that from the game yesterday. We need potentially another centre back, but I think that's more if one leaves. Because with Sarr coming in, we have all we need in terms of numbers. We just don't have necessarily the quality in terms of a top level centre back. And yeah, we need a winger and probably a striker as well, because Jackson, I'm kind of done with him.
I think that in terms of the middle, yesterday I was quite happy with Badiashile. I thought Tosin had a great game as well. I'm not sure if I would have given him man of the match. I probably would have given Enzo man of the match, to be honest.
It's fan voted. I'd have given it to Josh personally or Delap.
Yeah,
I thought Achimpong grew into the game. When he started, I thought, he's given the ball away a couple of times, not winning his challenges, but he got better and better as time went on. And then obviously we had Gusto on the left, inverting as a left back, doing a Cucurella jobby. I didn't think I would see that, but I can't say I'm surprised either. How would we rate his performance? And is that a position that if we don't get cover for Cucurella, is that the solution? Is that what we're seeing?
No, it's not.
It was like a 4. It was like a 4.
Yeah, it's not the solution.
It was bad, to be honest. I thought there was some good recovery, some decent passes. It's just the nature of the opposition.
Yeah,
it's like.
But obviously, if we don't sign another left back, which would be absolutely criminal, but at this point you can't entirely rule it out, which is a ridiculous thing to say, then that is going to be one of the solutions. You would have Reece and Achimpong as right backs, because I think actually, we're being honest, with the way that Maresca plays and inverting, Josh is so much better suited to playing as a right back in the Maresca system. He's comfortable on the ball. He looks comfortable on the ball in midfield and whatnot compared to Gusto. If we don't sign Hato or someone like that, then there's a real possibility that Gusto might have to switch and be a left back, because what other options have we got? That Ish Samuel Smith kid is spoken about, but he hasn't kicked a ball in senior football for Chelsea. So yeah, if the worst came to the worst and we didn't sign someone, then that would be a potential solution.
Ironically, I would rather put Achimpong there. You saw when Achimpong went to left back after Gusto came off and Sarr came on, he played better at left back, because you're right, Charlie. He's so much more comfortable driving forward with the ball, carrying the ball into midfield, carrying the ball from midfield into attack, and just doing a lot of that stuff. And yes, some of that comes down to his frame, which Gusto can't really help because it's a height thing, but he's so much more comfortable doing all of that. And at this moment in time, I say he's a better defender, just because Gusto seems to have lost his ability to defend for the most part. But yeah, it's just we can't go into next season with Gusto as our backup left back. We can't. Even though I kind of hear the point, he wasn't that bad yesterday, it's also just he was kind of just average, because I think Lewis is right. The opposition kind of played into that because they didn't really test him all that much. He just doesn't really, like, I think he did one cross I can remember that was quite good on his weak foot, but outside of that, he just doesn't offer you anything. Like, you kind of like, you see, and like I said, you see the difference when Josh goes in there of like, he's at least able to drive with it. He's able to do a bit more. It's like, okay, that's what we're missing. Because with Gusto, it's just nothing. Like, it's one cross every so often, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gusto still. Like, I don't believe that he's not good enough as a player. I just don't think that he's suited to the system. He was one of our best players season before last, and I'd say I'd put him in probably top 3. Palmer,
Caicedo, Gusto, isn't it?
Gusto, yeah. So for me,
he's also been a big problem for himself. Like, part of it is the inverted thing. Another thing is just him being a bozo too. Half the times when we get caught asleep at the back post, is Gusto falling asleep at the back post. The short passing is fucking atrocious. Right now, you're just looking like you're good in space and space to cross into. So we'll see what next season's got. But for me, like, if we have to have a number 2 and we don't have another left back, it's James. It's got to be James. James looks more composed. He's given me better games on the left than Gusto could even dream of from last season. And yeah, I'd have to go for James as the backup. I don't even want that. I'd rather just go get another left side and centre back or left back.
Gusto's got till January for me. I see the performances Josh puts in. He's got till January. If he doesn't fuck his ideas up, he can leave. Like, I'm putting more stocks in Josh.
The way I see it is, if Maresca stays, then Gusto will go. But if Maresca gets sacked, then I think Gusto will probably be more suited to another system.
This is the thing. The problem Gusto's got is the system don't suit him. And what I don't understand is it's so obvious it doesn't suit him, and he's not comfortable on the ball in midfield. And he doesn't really have the passing range and a passing ability to do that role. So why, when he plays, does he always invert him? That's what I don't get. If Gusto's going to play, just invert from the opposite side, and that might solve some of the issues. Obviously, his defending has regressed a little bit since the previous season, but I still don't get it. Like, it's clear that inverting don't suit him, but every time he plays, he inverts him. So it's a bit confusing.
Just before we go, I just want to give a little shout out to our sponsors. Obviously, Chelsea, we are going to be back against Benfica in the next round. If you are feeling confident, build your own bet with 7bet. Scorers, bookings, corners, all in one go. You can even bet live while the game is on. And if we go 2 goals up, you get paid early. Check out 7bet.co.uk. Link in the description below. There's a QR code on screen, so you can scan that as well. 18 plus only. Bet responsibly. Be gamble aware. Guys, I mean, we've spoken about the defensive situation. Do we think that Jorgensen's going to stay in goal, or was that just strictly for rotation's sake?
Alex, I'm willing to bet good money that Sanchez starts season as number 1.
Sanchez will start against Crystal Palace.
Yes.
I think there's probably I'd say I was 90% confident, unless he is injured, he'll start against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, there's like a 5% chance for me we sign Magnon. If that's not the case, then yeah, he starts.
Meant to be serious, aren't we?
But this is this club, and this is unfortunately, like, this comes back to the problems that kind of me and Charlie touched on earlier. We've been talking about as a club from day one. Like, we're in this position. Ultimately, these owners, it started from these owners getting the entire backroom staff for Potter in. Cool. I kind of understand why you'd wanted to do that, but it also kind of was a bit stupid at the time as well. You brought in Ben Roberts, who had to have his goalkeeper. He brought his goalkeeper in. He's been I'd say in his entire time here, a net negative. Like, people can tell me about some of the saves he's made, the 9 points he saved, whatever. Cool, he's lost us just as many. So he's been a complete net negative since he's been here. But he persists. He persists with being in goal. And when they had the opportunity of getting someone in to replace him, who would have been a huge improvement, they went, no, he's only worth 12 mil. So That's where we're at.
So,
and then we had the goalkeeper ourselves.
Jorgensen had no problem watching
fucking
the play
had
out of that.
Petrovic, and we
Oh, yeah.
still bottled it. Lewis, do you remember we did that show after? I think I was downplaying the whole Mannion situation. I was going, guys, don't worry. We've got Petrovic. It's all going to be fine. Because I love him. I think Petrovic is honestly going to become a world-class keeper. I think he's that good. I love him. One of my favourite players. And we are going to sell this guy in a gentleman's agreement for 25 million. All we care about is profits. And we don't even want to make a good profit on our best goalkeeper. It's not even £10 million. I mean, how does that even make sense? I would value him at 40 million. What's that, mate?
See what Maresca has to deal with.
Oh, it's fucking ridiculous, Lewis.
Briefings over the last few weeks saying we need a goalkeeper, just to say that Mignon's not good enough for anything more than 12 million. Then for everyone on the other side who wanted Petrovic, they just say, nah, he said he didn't want to be a part of the Club World Cup because, of course, he wouldn't want to be a part of it. Of course, he wouldn't want the pay rises and the bonuses that would come with progressing in this competition as part of the squad. Of course, he wouldn't want that. Nobody won from this situation. Nobody won. Everybody lost. No one got what they wanted.
The thing is, though, people say, you know, and this is when people go against Petrovic. They go, well, he apparently demanded to be Chelsea's number one. It's like, why wouldn't you demand when you see who you're competing against? It's like,
and not even just that. You won Player of the Season at the club that you are sending young players to develop at with the chance of getting into the Chelsea squad. This guy outperformed Sarr. He outperformed Andre Santos, and he can't even get on the plane. It's pathetic. What message are you sending to everyone else?
Right, you're talking about someone who was at worst the third best goalkeeper in Ligue 1 last season. At worst, like I don't understand. Like I genuinely don't understand. It makes no sense.
Though, like what happens though if no one bids 25 mil for Petrovic?
Oh, there will be. Like Galatasaray are already interested in him.
No, sure.
But I wish him all the best. Honestly, like enjoy your football, man.
Back to Strasbourg, mate.
Yeah, he will have another season at Strasbourg. Yeah,
or on loan somewhere else, like maybe a loan to Galatasaray or something with an option, maybe.
But you know, the thing is, the difference between the Petrovic, because like Santos, people have obviously spoken about him as well, and they've gone, oh, you know, but he's competing with some very good players. You know, you got your Caicedos, Lavia, obviously Asugo's coming in, and Fernandez. Yeah, but when you look at our midfield, it's respectable, and I think Santos, as much as he's unhappy about not playing, like he can respect it. How can you look at what we have in goal and think I shouldn't be playing ahead of that? I mean, he's honestly. I mean, I don't know about like all the stats, but I think that there's a very good argument to say Sanchez is the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League last season.
Statistically, he is.
Yeah.
But then when you say that,
worst keeper of the league last season.
But then when you say that, right? When you say that, right? People always point to this one stat. Oh, but his save percentage was really high. Okay, cool, fine. But what about topping the charts for the most errors in the league out of any goalkeeper leading to goals? That is far worse than any. I'm not looking at save percentage. I'm looking at how many errors is my keeper making leading to goals. How many goals and points and games is my keeper costing me? I don't think anyone disagrees that Sanchez isn't a half-decent shot stopper. He's shown on a number of occasions he can be. But ultimately, there's more to shot stopping in a modern-day game for a goalkeeper, and he's just a total liability. Those mistakes are never leaving his game. His distribution's awful. You can guarantee every single game at least 5 passes minimum are going to the opposition. And yeah, okay, you should have to earn your place in the team. But when you just come off a season like Petrovic has, right, and the whole point of the multi-club model is you go out on loan, you prove yourself, and you come back if you're good enough to, and you're going to get a chance to play for Chelsea. Santos, different situation. We're stacked. He will get his opportunities. But when you look at goalkeeper, and we're not stacked in that position in terms of quality whatsoever, to be told that you can't give any guarantees, like if I was Petrovic, I would be pretty pissed off about that in terms of I should be going in, I should be number one based off that season.
Well, based on what I would say, based on what we heard, Charlie, like he's not the only one that's getting like nonsense spewed to him. Like the whole Pius situation is embarrassing. Like this is where if these guys are going to do this model and are going to go this route, which I like the multi-club model, they've completely bastardized the idea, as is their wont to do with everything at this football club. You need to have, like you said, a pathway. Like most players probably won't make it. Like Angelo, we sold him for profit. That is what it is. The guys that actually perform, like for example, Savio at what's it called at Man City, performed really well at Girona. So he got the move to City because he showed he could do it at Girona, and the next step up was City. The same for another example is Thiago Almada, who went to Botafogo, played really well, is now at Lyon. Obviously, he might leave because they've got relegated, but there was talk of him then going to Palace afterwards if he performed well enough because that was part of the group they were part of. That's the pathway. If you've got these guys coming in who, like even with Santos, I do think he gets game time, but it remains to be seen how much. If you've got these guys coming in, going on loan, performing, and then being sold, even to a point with Sarr, like I think Sarr's going to be fifth choice centre back. These coming in, it's like, okay, the next guy you want to get in, you go, okay, you need to go on loan to Strasbourg for a year. Why? Why am I going on loan for a year to potentially be sold? What's the point of me joining you to never play for you, unless all I care about is the money? Which if that's how you feel, fair enough. Like, I would not be surprised if it gets to a point where certain players are just like, why would I go here? Like, I need to have some assurances because I'm not just coming here to go on loan for like 2 years to Strasbourg to then be sold to some other random team. It's like that's not helping me. It doesn't make sense.
This whole goalkeeping thing about how Petrovic shouldn't be like, well, he has to earn his place. We've seen it enough times at Chelsea Football Club where that doesn't happen in goal. We've seen Carlo Cudicini, one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League at the time, immediately benched for Petr Cech, who had like just 1 or 2 breakout seasons at Rennes. Then a decade later, we watched Petr Cech, a guy who done it all, won it all multiple times at Chelsea, immediately get thrown to the bench match day 1 for Thibaut Courtois. Why the fuck? Those are quality goalkeepers, by the way. One of the best in the league getting benched. Meanwhile, this bold hoof merchant who can't find a player to save his life has the most errors leading to shots and goals in the league, has cost us in multiple big games. Not even big games. And he's starting again for us. It's so backwards.
And Lewis, on that,
I've seen Alisson come in immediately displace Karius. Van der Sar immediately displaced Tim Howard. It's fucking Sanchez.
And even at Scott, even at City, right? Pep bought Claudio Bravo, right? Didn't like him. He was gone straight away. He comes in, Joe Hart, straight away makes the decision. No, you're gone. So why are we incapable of doing that? You know, I get it. You know, not everyone.
Ramsdale, Raya.
I was literally about to use that example, the Ramsdale and Raya one, because that's probably a better example.
Yeah. I don't understand it. And by the way, Sanchez done nowhere near as much as what Ramsdale had done in the Arsenal team. So I look at it and it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And look, obviously, let's wait and see what happens with Santos and whatnot, and whether he makes a success of himself at Chelsea. But I think there are legitimate questions to be raised that if you go to Strasbourg and then you prove yourself and then you aren't given an opportunity at Chelsea, then that is major red flags for the whole premise of what we're trying to do here. Let's see what happens with Kendry Pires. Let's see when Pires is at Strasbourg next season. If he comes back in 26, 27, is he going to be given opportunities? You know, and this is the whole point. And it comes back to what Scott was saying, that like, if that's not the case, if you go and excel at Strasbourg and you still aren't given the chance, then why would you sign for Chelsea in the first place?
Well, I think that a lot more players are going to stop doing that. That they're not going to fall for anymore, because we basically sold a dream. But by the way, I mean, they can still sell that dream, because there's a progression that you can see. You can see that we finished 12th, we finished 6th, we finished 4th, we won a trophy, won a whole European trophy. And you know, the next stage is can we push on further? Can we compete for a title? Can we push domestically and still maintain some sort of form in the Champions League? And to be honest with you, like even with new signings, I would be pretty satisfied from a progression standpoint to see us compete on, you know, multiple fronts domestically in the FA Cup and the Carabao. Like, I'm not even saying we've got to win the competitions, but we've got to do fucking better. You know, like a semi-final.
We need to win a domestic cup.
We need to get to at least a semi-final in both of those competitions. And that's definitely a progression. I mean, if it's not that, then focus on one and then you try and win it. In the Prem, then you've got to go from 4th to 3rd, 2nd or 1st. And in the Champions League, I probably feel similar as I do with the Club World Cup, like quarterfinals. I don't think people would complain. I mean, people always complain, but it's better, isn't it? It's better. And then from then you go, right, we're being serious now. This is where we need to stop fucking about. But, you know, we should have already been there this season. And if we would have had Petrovic in goal and an Osman up front, we wouldn't be talking about quarterfinals. We'd be talking about trophies. That's honestly how close we are to actually achieving something. We're a couple of players away and we keep self-sabotaging.
Well, that's where the frustrations are, is that we aren't a million miles away. Sometimes it might feel like it, but we're not a million miles away. So that's where the frustration comes, where you choose, you make an active decision not to pay money for Mike Maignan, which is a massive, massive upgrade in a crucial area on the pitch where the goalkeeper market is not great anyway. You're presented with an unbelievable opportunity to go and massively improve in goal, and you refuse to take it. That's where the frustrations come, because if a serious team that's looking to build and looking to progress and looking to challenge for titles, they go and spend that 20 million, because even if you think that's overpaying, the money that he'll bring in through contributing to the team and getting us trophies or getting us to the latter stages will far outweigh that extra 5 million quid or whatever that you had to pay. So it's decisions like that. No one's like knocking the ambition to spend money, because they spend money and not all ownerships do that. But you have to question when you won't go and spend an extra 4 or 5 million pounds for a top class player in a vital position on the pitch, but you'll happily go and drop 25, 30 million on someone who's probably never going to kick a ball for the football club. That's where the frustration comes.
I mean, just going on what you said as well, Charlie, I mean, not to get too negative, I don't want to get into a rant about the owners, but the only reason they spent the money is because they had to in the Glazer clause, and they're not even spending their own money, they're borrowing it. So, you know, this is not like they're reaching in their own pockets to fund our transfers. They're borrowing money from the banks, from Ares Capital, Ares Management, whatever you call it, and Goldman Sachs, all the rest of them. Like, so they're putting debt onto, I don't think it's on Blueco, it's on Midco 22, that they're piling a lot of debt onto that, and they've got to repay that. They've got to repay the debt. So we are being run as a financial instrument in order to pay off that debt and increase the value of this club. So I don't buy this whole notion that Chelsea owners spend a load of money, even if they don't know how to. They don't even spend their own money. So that's not an excuse for me. But I mean, if they were going to spend someone else's money, the least you could have done is spent it well. And now we've run out, and we're not at the stage where we can go out and spend another billion, rightly so. We're now in a position where, you know, we've got to rely on Maignan for 12 million if that deal was accepted, or Delap for 30. And those deals don't come around very often. So that is the challenge that we now face. I mean, speaking of Delap, I mean, I thought he was pretty good against Flamengo when I was at the match in terms of what he did do. I just don't think he was fed. I don't think he had any service. But when he was there, I thought he was trying to cause some problems. But much better again against Tunis, and he got his first goal as well.
Mm-hmm. I made a joke. To be fair, the game yesterday was kind of the same in terms of, I made a joke of like he's learning the Chelsea way of making 20 runs a game and getting fed once, because it was a similar, like, up until he got the assist, he got the goal. It's the same conversation that we've seen at time and time again with our strikers of making runs in behind and either no one trying to find him or the pass that does try to find him is terrible. And I found it ironic that the first person to find him in behind, I think, was Badiashile.
Was it?
I think the first pass that he got in behind successfully was Badiashile. Which is kind of up. That was obviously before the goal he scored, which was very well taken. It was a really, really nice goal. But no, he's looked good. Like he's looked kind of pretty much as I expected him to. Like he's a brute, to put it plainly. Like he's physical as all hell. Like there's a couple of times where he looks like he's lost the ball because of a poor first touch, but he rescues it because he's just able to out muscle the guy he's kind of battling with. But it's been so far the tournament so far. I'd say he's been maybe the biggest positive of any player we've brought so far. Outside of I think he's been probably the biggest positive of any player. I think
Sugu's looks pretty good as well, in fairness. But yeah, generally speaking, in terms of kind of first team ready players that you think are going to make an instant impact, Delap has been impressive, and you can tell he's going to give us a much needed different dimension up front. The way that he's physical, even for that goal, right? I know defending's not the best, but you know how he uses his body to shrug to keep that defender off. Then he shrugs one off, and then it's a nice finish in the corner. Like he is a proper goal scorer, like a proper old school centre forward. I mean, when was the last time really, as a team, we actually scored like a proper striker's goal? We don't really haven't done that often. So look, by the way, I'm not getting carried away and saying Delap's going to be unbelievable, but I think he's going to be a really, really useful asset. And at 30 million quid, you know, it was an absolute no-brainer to get him in. But the challenges are going to be a lot harder than that. But it has been a positive start, and you can see that already he's building a bit of a connection with Enzo. And, you know, he's got an opportunity now with Jackson banned for the next game in this tournament and obviously banned for the first game against Palace in the league. He's got an opportunity to cement himself as the first choice for the early part of next season. And he's made a good start.
I think that when it comes to Delap, I think, honestly, I wouldn't say 100%, but I would say 80% of Chelsea fans have already made their mind up that they think Delap should be our striker, our number one striker. And part of the reason is just because he's actually a striker. And that shouldn't be an argument because we should already have one in the first place, or at least a reputable one. But we don't. I think that he's probably the closest thing since Costa. I think a lot of the things that you see from Delap, you saw from Costa as well. Obviously, it's a different game now with VAR, and you know, you're not able to be as physical. But one thing I like about Delap, and if you look at his record, I don't think he had any red cards in the Premier League.
It was the most booked player in the Premier League last season, wasn't he?
But no red cards.
No reds, but most booked player, yeah.
I think you see that with the challenge he made in the Flamengo game on that guy. I don't know if there was something that led to that, but like I'd say the only concern I have on him at the moment is maybe he's a bit too guard happy.
Scott, it shouldn't be a concern. I think that's an asset because you look at a player like Cucurella.
If you control it,
that's the thing. I say it's an issue because we've seen. I'd say it's only an issue because it could lead to something of like, obviously with Jackson it's a bit different. I think that's a mentality thing and a temperament thing, but I don't like players getting too many cards unnecessarily because I think I just think it means that you potentially have them out for periods of time, which is like the last thing we want, especially in key positions. Like if, for example, like I don't know, one of the wingers, if like one of the wingers gets a red card or one of the wingers gets a yellow card accumulation, cool. Like I'll be real, our wingers are all kind of much of a muchness. They're all kind of the same, so it doesn't really matter. But he is quite clearly at this point our number one. And I think even if we get another striker, if Jackson leaves, he's still the number one going into next season. So that's the only concern I'd have. If he can rein it in a little bit where like he's still being physical and he might get the odd yellow card, but it's not an issue in terms of he's picking up too many. Like I think
that's picky, Scott. I think that's picky. You know, you either want him to be physical or you don't. And he's got that.
No, but there's a line you can toe. No, but he has to just toe the line. Like don't. You can get up to the line, like be physical as you want. Like we saw with Costa. Costa was very physical, but he knew how to use that to his benefit. So he would still get yellow cards from time to time, 100%. But he knew how to use that. Where like that's what I want for Delap. Don't go as close to the line as you want. Don't go over it because that's what we saw Jackson do last season. That's what we saw. Who else am I thinking of? Did that a lot. In the first, like Gallagher was always too bad for that, going far too over the line when it came to that sort of stuff. Like get as close as possible. Just do not cross the line, because we can't be afford to missing you for games because you're doing stupid stuff.
No, I think that's fair. But if I was a defender, I would rather play against Nicholas Jackson than Delap. And I think most Premier League defenders would feel that way because he's not one-dimensional either. This is one of the things I love about him is he's big, strong. He's relatively fast, to be fair as well. And he's nifty with his feet. So he can operate in the penalty box. But most importantly, the main difference you've got is he'll just have a crack. And I think he did have one other chance. I can't remember. I think it was in the Tunis game where it was offside. He missed an easy chance.
No, that one it was a defender. I think he shot the back of the defender's foot.
Was it?
Yeah, he kicked the back of the defender's foot, and then because of that, clipped the top of the ball.
We thought in the stadium, that's a bit of a poor miss. But at the same time, I was like, would Jackson have had a shot? Would he have done it? And that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And maybe he would have, but I think
in the same direction if he had the shot.
I think that the main thing is if you've got 10 opportunities where you can have a crack and you think Jackson will only shoot on 2 or 3 of them, I think Delap will shoot on 6 or 7 of them.
Because he's a natural striker. That's the thing, isn't it?
If you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't shoot, you don't score. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And how many? I don't know if you guys know the stats for this as well, but how many big opportunities did Jackson miss this season?
I don't know.
I don't know. I know he underperformed his XG by like 4 or 5, but I don't actually know how many big chances he missed.
But also, like, the more shots you take and whatnot, and the more, like, Delap will miss a lot of chances next season, but hopefully, he'll obviously score a lot more as well. But just by virtue of taking more shots on, you are going to miss more opportunities.
No, absolutely. But, hopefully law of averages, the more you shoot, the more likely you are.
I mean, genuinely speaking, though, like, I think if we create the same amount of chances we did last season or even more, then if he stays fit...
Jackson missed 19, 4th most in the league.
And how many did Delap miss?
Like,
I'd say he'd have less chances as well, just
that.
But he missed 10. He missed 10. He's joint 27th.
Right. And he scored more goals than Jackson in the league anyway.
Yeah.
He did, but he was fit for the whole season.
A quarter of the chances.
But I don't think that's not even a good excuse. I mean, the fucking guy played for Ipswich.
He had a quarter of the chances.
How many goals were penalties? I mean, obviously they still count. And that.
3 or 4.
I want to say off the top of my head, I want to say 3 or 4. What I will say is I think the better indicator for me rather than big chance missed is XG across the season, just because like you can then kind of equate that to chances they should score. Delap, technically speaking, underperformed his XG. Oh, sorry, underperformed. He got 12 goals from like 11.9 something XG.
If he stays fit, 2 pens. If he stays fit, like, and we create the chances or more chances, genuinely, like, there's not really any reason why he couldn't get between 15 and 20 league goals next season. He got 12 in Ipswich last year. 100%. Very much not seeing much of the ball. Obviously, Chelsea is going to be different. Teams are going to sit deeper, and it's going to be a different challenge for him. But realistically, I don't see a reason why he couldn't get 15 league goals next season.
I'm expecting 18 to 20, and I think he can hit that.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. Hey, we've got a striker.
To be fair though, like this is part of it. Like he needs to. If we're going to say he's a definitive upgrade on Jackson, him getting 15 league goals for me isn't an improvement. That's what Jackson got in his first season. I need you to come in and immediately get much more. It's the same with the other guys we looked at. Like when Gittins comes in, I think we're all assuming he does. I need much better I need performances from day one that are way better than what we were getting from Madueke and Sancho, and even to a point Neto last season. I'm expecting you to come in and almost be our best winger, because if you're not, then you weren't an improvement.
In fairness to Neto, he's had a pretty good Club World Cup.
Oh, he has. He had a really good second half against LAFC, and then a really good game against Flamengo, and obviously didn't play yesterday.
Yeah. I think if there's one thing I'm hoping that we can not bring to the team, but just allow the team to counter-attack a little bit more as well. Because like you look at Neto's goal, you look at what Delap, obviously we know he's good on the counter as well with Ipswich. He loves carrying the ball a bit like Jackson. He's actually better at it based on the stats in the Prem, understandably, because Ipswich are a counter-attacking team. But I would love to see Maresca just be a little bit more open to allowing the team to counter and get some goals on the break, and just take a little bit more of a risk at times. Because I think ultimately, although we might get results in games as well, fans want to be entertained, and I think we will be entertained by the lap, and I think we'll be impressed with the ability that we have in midfield. And I think that those are two areas that we'll look at and we'll go, this is definitely better than what we had. But if they're restricted and they're not allowed to do certain things, like I've seen at times, when Neto, I'm thinking, come on, mate, I've seen you make these runs so many times, whether it's, at Wolves or just generally throughout his career. And I'm like, you're holding something back here. This is not because you don't want to, it's because you're being told to do something else. So I would like to see us open up a little bit more in that sense. If we're not going to do that, then that is just another reason why we need to spend more money, which some would say is unnecessary if you can get more out of the players you have. But if you're going to play one style, you've got to get more players in that are capable of playing that style. And Jamie Gittins is probably one of them. Hey, Lewis, what do you think about the Garnacho wearing Aston Villa shirt? He wants Chelsea, mate. He wants it.
Freudian slip, bruv. I'm sure he could have got a Sancho shirt if he wanted. He chose the Rashford shirt. I've been saying anyway, I think Villa suit him the most because they play like the closest to direct football. And the only thing like Garnacho's good for is running into space.
It's true.
So,
he's not better than any of the current wingers, man.
Hey, don't tell them that.
Keep him away from this football club.
What do you think of that hashtag no to Garnacho?
Good.
We did it first. It's gone mainstream. Fucking love it.
I guess
one of the few things that can unite the fans. I've only seen one fan that wants him, and it's Carlito. Big up Carlito, but his talent ID reeks.
He wants Garnacho. No,
I've seen a couple of other morons want him as well.
There's a Havertz stan, a Poch stan, and a Garnacho stan. And Mrs. More than Jackson. Big up, though.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Who else? We haven't spoken much about Madueke either. I mean, are we convinced of him on the left side?
Not really, no. But to be honest, we haven't got anything else in this tournament. We've got three wingers: Neto, Madueke, and George. So
and we've technically only got. He did. We've only technically really got two with the amount of time that George has played.
Yeah. So, look, Madueke's had a couple of decent games on the left, but yeah, it's not really a solution, which is why we're so desperate to get a left winger in. And yeah, the market for the left wing's not great. So look, we need to bring Gittins in, and we need to do it fast, and we just need some bodies there. But realistically, we're being real. Madueke and Neto to a certain extent. If you're serious, those are rotation level wingers in a top squad. They shouldn't be starting every single week. Neto has the ability to be a starter every week. We haven't quite seen it on a consistent enough basis. But the likes of Madueke's and whatnot, these are rotation option wingers. But Gittins is going to come in. He's not really anything better than what we've got right now. So this is kind of where the issues are, is that you are adding to a position you desperately need to strengthen with players that aren't actually better than the current crop of wingers that are already there.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I would definitely rather have Jamie Gittins than Garnacho.
For sure, yeah.
But I do think we're getting our pants pulled down. 55 million is a joke.
Depends how much of it's on add-ons, but yeah, it is a sharp thing.
By the way, I mentioned earlier, that's more than we were wanting before the tournament started, right?
Yeah, I mean that goes to show what you were saying as well earlier. Like we almost drag these negotiations. Like think of it like this: like you're talking to a girl. Eventually, you've got to fucking ask her out. If you keep talking to her, she just wants
someone else will. Yeah,
but the thing is, like, Alex, we keep doing this, and I think this is where. Well, like some of the people in this fan base need to understand and realize certain things happen over and over again. Like that's a pattern, and that's a sign of behavioural thing. Like that's just what they do. Like we dragged the whole Elise thing and failed. We dragged the Caicedo thing and got lucky that he decided to agree to us. We dragged the Enzo thing, nearly messed that up if it wasn't for Egg Barley. We dragged the Mudryk thing, I think, as well. That much we might have got done quickly. Well, yeah. We dragged the Osimhen thing as well. We keep dragging these transfers out constantly because these sporting directors that we have an inability to negotiate. Like, how are you going in for Gittins, offering 30, I think we offered originally, or 35? All of a sudden, we've got to 30 plus, I think 25 million add-ons was the offer they made before the start of the Club World Cup, which was immediately turned down. And now we've got to 55 million pounds when originally they wanted 55 million euros. So we're paying 10 million more euros, I think it is, than they originally wanted. How have you reached this point? Where's this Club World Cup tax everyone was talking about? Why don't you just pay the money beforehand?
Well, I mean, but we're not even getting the benefits of having him for the Club World Cup.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know what to say.
Hey, well, I mean, I think that we can beat Benfica. We'll just finish on
we should
our
do
predictions for that one.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough. It'll be tough. I mean, I'd love an Enzo Fernandez badge kiss celebration against Benfica, but yeah. I think this will be tight. I'll go 2-1 win for us, but it'll be close. It'll be a tough game.
With you on that. What do you think, Lewis?
I've got a 3-1 Chelsea. Just peel away towards the end of it. But it will be a difficult game. This ain't going to be easy from this point.
Scott?
I'm saying 2-1 as well. I think we've got just enough. I watched Tunis defensively. They weren't great. We just need to make sure we're switched on at corners. That's the one thing I noticed.
I'll be honest. I'm with you, boys. I'm saying 2-1. Hey, feeling confident. I won't be going to the game in Charlotte because I was absolutely certain that we were going to be playing in Miami, so we booked accommodation in Florida. So
No.
we're not going to fucking go to that game. But
to be fair, I think from the quarterfinals onwards, or maybe round of 16, we are actually based in Miami, which is weird.
Well, the next round is Philadelphia, which is where we've been for the past 2 games anyway. And Philly's fucking brilliant. It's like the easiest ground. I went to the baseball there. All of the stadiums. You've got the football stadium, the basketball, and the ice hockey, and the
American football,
baseball stadium. Like it's soccer and football. Yeah, like
they're all next to each other.
Yeah, all in the same place.
Great.
It's fucking great. It's brilliant. So yeah, Philadelphia is great. Atlanta's like a little bit more. It's a little bit harder. Like we were saying right opposite, so we were lucky. That would have been a bit harder. Obviously, I've never been to Miami, so hopefully I can go to the game in Philly because that's on the 4th and I leave on the 5th. So fingers crossed. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, guys. But listen, big up if anyone's been watching for the whole show. Appreciate everyone that's watching. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to Lewis's channel. Subscribe to Charlie as well. We'll leave their channels in the description. And subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV as well. Appreciate your time as well, Scott. Big up to you for coming on. And we'll be back very soon.